He thought he had found the easiest target in the room. A quiet single dad standing alone near the wall, holding his little daughter's hand, looked nothing like a fighter. But when a cocky MMA bully decided to humiliate him in front of everyone, he made one mistake that changed the entire room. He judged a man by what he could see, and had no idea what that man had already survived. Before we get into this powerful story, subscribe to Spread Kindness 0.2, hit the like button, and tell us in the comments what you would have done in this situation. Your support helps us share more stories that remind people kindness still matters. It was a Saturday afternoon at a busy community sports center in Ohio. Families filled the building, kids ran between the benches, and the sound of boxing gloves hitting heavy bags echoed through the gym. Near the entrance stood a man named Daniel. He was 38 years old, a single father, and the kind of person who rarely asked for attention. He wore an old gray hoodie, worn sneakers, and jeans that had clearly seen better days. Beside him was his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Daniel had brought her to the center because she loved watching the youth martial arts classes. She dreamed of becoming strong someday, but Daniel always reminded her that real strength wasn't about hurting people. Being strong means knowing when you don't have to, he often told her. That afternoon, Lily noticed a group of MMA fighters training near the center of the gym. One fighter stood out immediately. His name was Marcus Reed. He was young, muscular, and popular around the gym. He had won several amateur fights and never missed an opportunity to tell people about them. Marcus enjoyed attention. He laughed loudly, challenged other men, and made sure everyone knew he was the toughest person in the building. When he noticed Daniel and Lily watching from across the room, Marcus smirked. "Hey, buddy," he called. "You lost? This isn't a playground." Daniel looked over but said nothing. Lily held her father's hand a little tighter. Marcus laughed. "What? No comeback?" Daniel simply smiled and said, "We're just here to watch." That answer seemed to annoy Marcus even more. He walked closer. "Watch what? Real fighters?" Daniel nodded politely. "My daughter enjoys the classes." Marcus looked at Lily and then back at Daniel. "She should probably learn to defend herself. Especially with a dad like you." The room grew quieter. Daniel didn't respond. He simply looked at his daughter and said, "Come on, sweetheart. Let's sit over there." Marcus followed them with his eyes. Then he made the mistake that would change everything. "What's wrong?" Marcus said loudly. "Too scared to stand up for yourself?" Several people stopped training. Daniel turned around. His expression was calm. "I'm not interested in fighting you." Marcus laughed. "Of course you're not." Daniel took a slow breath. He could have answered with anger. He could have challenged Marcus. He could have embarrassed him in front of everyone. But Lily was watching. And Daniel remembered something his late father had once told him. Never let another person's bad behavior decide who you become. So Daniel simply said, "I'm here with my daughter. I don't want trouble." Marcus stepped closer. "Maybe you're scared she'll see what happens when her dad gets challenged." Lily looked frightened. Daniel immediately stepped between Marcus and his daughter. His voice remained quiet. "That's enough." Marcus smiled. Then he shoved Daniel in the shoulder. The gym went silent. Daniel took one step backward but didn't raise his hands. Everyone expected him to explode. He didn't. Instead, he looked at Marcus and said, "You don't need to prove anything to me." Marcus shoved him again. This time, Daniel caught his wrist. The change in the room was immediate. Marcus tried to pull away. Daniel didn't move. His grip was controlled, firm, and effortless. Marcus's smile disappeared. Daniel released him. "Please stop," he said. Marcus stared at him. "You know how to fight?" Daniel shook his head. I know how to protect people. Those words made everyone pause. Then Marcus charged. Daniel moved faster than anyone expected. He stepped aside, redirected Marcus's momentum, and gently brought him to the mat without throwing a single unnecessary punch. The entire room froze. Daniel held Marcus down for only a moment before letting him go. Marcus scrambled backward, shocked. One of the trainers immediately stepped forward. Daniel? Daniel looked at him. You know this guy? The trainer nodded slowly. He trained here years ago. Marcus stared. The trainer continued. Daniel used to be a professional military combatives instructor. He stopped training after leaving the service. Marcus's face changed. Daniel looked uncomfortable. I don't talk about that. The trainer nodded. I know. Lily ran to her father and hugged his waist. Daniel immediately dropped to his knees and hugged her back. It's okay, he whispered. Marcus sat on the mat, breathing heavily. For the first time that afternoon, he looked less like a bully and more like a young man who had just realized how foolish he had been. After a long silence, Marcus stood. He walked toward Daniel. Everyone watched carefully. Marcus stopped a few feet away. I'm sorry. Daniel looked at him. Marcus swallowed. I was trying to show everyone I was tough. Daniel nodded. You don't have to be. Marcus looked down. I embarrassed myself. Daniel smiled slightly. We all make mistakes. Marcus looked surprised. You're not angry? I was, Daniel admitted. But being angry doesn't mean I have to hurt you. Those words hit Marcus harder than any punch could have. Then Daniel did something nobody expected. He offered his hand. Marcus hesitated before taking it. Daniel pulled him up. Lily watched the two men shake hands. Then she looked at her father. Dad? Yeah. Is that what being strong means? Daniel smiled. Sometimes. She thought for a moment. Not fighting? Not fighting when you could. Marcus heard those words. And something inside him changed. A few minutes later, he walked over to Lily. I'm sorry I scared you. Lily looked at him carefully. Then she nodded. Okay. Marcus smiled. Daniel and Lily eventually left the gym. As they walked toward the parking lot, Lily held her father's hand. Dad? Yes? You were really strong. Daniel smiled. Thank you. But you didn't hurt him. No. Why? Daniel looked down at his daughter. Because the strongest person in the room isn't always the person who can hit the hardest. He squeezed her hand. Sometimes it's the person who has every reason to fight, but chooses kindness instead. Behind them, Marcus stood at the gym entrance watching them leave. That day, he learned something no fight had ever taught him. Strength wasn't about making people afraid. It was about making people feel safe. And Daniel learned something too. Sometimes kindness doesn't look soft. Sometimes kindness is having the power to destroy someone and choosing instead to give them a second chance. We never know what battles another person has survived. We never know what pain is hiding behind a quiet face. And we never know how one small act of patience can change someone's entire direction. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember Daniel. You don't always have to win the argument. You don't have to prove you're stronger. You don't have to return anger with anger. Sometimes, the greatest victory is walking away with your character still intact. Because kindness isn't weakness. Kindness is strength under control. And sometimes, the person who looks the least dangerous in the room is the one who understands true strength better than everyone else. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And remember, you never know how far one act of kindness can travel. Spread kindness. It may be the strongest thing you ever do.